Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 44 of the Glimmer Gang podcast. This is, albeit the third time we're trying to record this episode. We've had some technical difficulties. I'm having technical difficulties this morning getting out words. But we are here to talk about the Chicago DLC, which is just a few days away. Talk about what decks are going to be good because we've had some tournament results come in over the weekend, and we kind of are seeing what can perform. And those decks are Ruby Amethyst, Ruby Sapphire, Emerald Steel, and Sapphire Steel. And it's, I don't know what you guys are thinking, Blake. I'll go to you first. It feels, it doesn't feel like as close to what set 3 was where anything could do good, but we are starting to see a little more action in other decks outside of Ruby Sapphire and Emerald Steel come into the play.
Yeah, we're still in the first few weeks of Set 4 releasing, so things are still getting figured out. But right now, everyone's trying to just go with what is performing best. Ruby Sapphire, especially, getting a bunch of tools with this set,
Yeah.
really just shot it off to the stratosphere with how it's been performing this set. And then, of course, discard.
Yeah. Love
Discard.
yeah. Discard's discard.
Uh, but uh, but but this will be one of the first weekends. Yes, this will see a lot, but I'm very interested to see if we'll have something like Atlanta, where something different will come out of the dark and just take it all by storm. We'll have we'll have to wait and see, but the four big ones, yeah, I definitely expect those to make the majority.
Now, Shawn, we'll be in attendance. You're not playing one of these big four decks.
Nope.
You're going to Amber Emerald Songs, which obviously you have the discard, but you also have the tools like of all the Amber songs. How are you feeling about that going into these main four, knowing that you're going to see a lot of these?
I'm pretty confident. I've done a decent amount of testing with Amber Emerald. I'm fairly confident. More so, not in the fact that it's a quote unquote stronger deck than everything else. I think leaning further, my deck leans further into discard than Bucky even does at this point, really, because Bucky is kind of the only thing that's doing the discarding in that deck. There's not a whole lot else. It's Bucky, and then you drop a bunch of Floodboards, which that works great. That's an awesome strategy. My deck is essentially I'm discarding something from your deck, hopefully discarding something from your hand every single turn, like over and over again, sometimes multiple times if I can get the right songs out and the right combination of characters out. So I think that's going to be a lot of fun, and I have really, really good ways of clearing the board with Under the Sea, and I can dig for songs that I need and characters that I need because I have Ariel and I have Look at This Family, which are two phenomenal ways of card draw, essentially, but it's card draw that I get to pick. I get to pick what I'm getting.
Right.
So I think I'm stationed pretty good. I think that, and I don't think anybody's going to be expecting it. I don't think anybody's going to be like expecting the Amber Emerald Kita Under the Sea discard combination. So I'm fairly confident.
So if we run in at round one, of course the one person who knows what's coming,
discarding everything, Teddy, discarding all of it.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing is, once we're done here, you don't want me to post this until Friday.
Well, that would need until Sunday or something.
Post it whenever you want. Bring it on, because I don't think anybody's going to tech for just me specifically.
That's true.
Nah, everyone tech the heck for Lee.
Yeah, tech against me, man. I'm coming for you.
That one person who techs against Lee is going to win it all.
1,000 chance to run into.
Exactly.
No, but Chicago is, like we said, only a few days away. It does feel like a very quick turnaround from Atlanta. I know a lot of us have been talking about this. Shawn, you were just in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Are you still exhausted? But are you ready to get going with Chicago and all that?
I have finally recuperated fully from that trip, but it also does feel like I've only been home for I guess I've only been home for I've been home for less than a week because unlike a lot of people, my travels took a lot longer. I didn't actually get home until Tuesday night, I believe, is when I got home. So I was actually out and about on the road like a day and a half, 2 days longer than everybody else was really, because I had to get home to Michigan, and then I actually took a bus from Detroit to close to my hometown, which is about 8 hour bus.
Oh,
That was
jeez.
fun.
Yeah, that sounds
That
like.
was it was quite an adventure. I don't mind stuff like that. I had the time off from work anyway. So I don't. I literally just got time to kind of decompress by myself. I had my earbuds in the whole time, listening to music, uh, checking up on Discord, catching up with people,
Mhm.
because for most of the weekend in Atlanta, I was kind of just off of social media. I didn't do a whole lot of posting. I didn't do a whole lot of anything really, because it's you got to kind of focus and be in the moment. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And
Yeah.
Yeah.
which with Chicago, I don't want to do it the same way. I do regret being so hyper focused, because there are moments that you need to take for yourself,
Like
visit with
eating.
Mhm.
like eating. Yeah, I didn't eat the whole,
Calling you out.
I didn't eat the whole first Saturday, so we're definitely gonna bring snacks this time, so that won't be an issue. And I do definitely want to make sure that I take more pictures. There are a lot of people that I don't get to see very often that were there, that I spoke with and hung out with, didn't get a picture like we should have. So I am definitely going to try my hardest this weekend to get as many pictures with as many people as I can. Just save those.
Yeah, because like I always know, like when we look back on those Gen Con photos and we see all the pictures that were taken,
Yeah,
uh,
dude.
those are where the memories come from.
Exactly.
So
I have a fun time photoshopping myself in.
Yeah.
yeah, no. Obviously, Blake, you won't be in Chicago. I think people can figure that out by that.
Reminder.
Unfortunately.
But obviously, you'll be able to kind of watch. And I know this was kind of where we were for Atlanta watching the event. I think it's still going to be really good. The casting was great in Atlanta, and I think still like watching it online and on the stream still gives you pretty good understanding of what's going on there, and it's really cool to see all the games and all that.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, Getting to see everything and what comes out of it, and seeing hopefully seeing some of you guys on stream.
Yeah.
That's
I'm
always
hoping.
fun to see when someone comes up on stream. I know
Mm-hmm.
some of our close friends and some players that we know. I believe Bivens made it onto stream
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Yep.
at Atlanta, and some of our friends.
I believe Walter did as well, didn't he?
I
Yep,
think
yep,
so. Yeah.
Walter. Yeah, uh, especially with his Aladdin cosplay,
Yes.
which was amazing. Um, and then I believe it's been announced. The casters,
Yeah, it's the same team.
yeah, same team.
Same team.
Same
Only I
same team,
believe,
different combination, I think,
is-
because yeah,
yeah, I believe
different ones will be live and stuff.
Brandon and Rebecca are going to be the live ones,
Mm-hmm.
and then John T and Liam will be the away team.
Yeah. Well, we are here to talk about the four decks that are prominently going to be there. Like I said at the beginning, Ruby Amethyst, Ruby Sapphire, Emerald Steel, and Sapphire Steel. Shawn, you want to take us over Ruby Amethyst and what that deck's going to be trying to do this week?
Oh, absolutely. So Ruby Amethyst, we all know her, we all love her. She's been around forever. It kind of takes more of almost an aggro-y stance this time. Don't get me wrong, there's still those bounce pieces and the control
Mm-hmm.
pieces. Um, but it wants to go under Sapphire Steel and Ruby Sapphire, and it has the castles to be able to drop down early to get that
Mm-hmm.
early lore momentum going. And I guess its worst matchup was probably Emerald Steel, but it does have outs to Diablo, which is helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Brawl Teeth, um, Pegasus, the Ruby Pegasus, or is it the Ruby
It's
Pegasus?
the Ruby Pegasus. Both Fidget and Pegasus are
Yeah,
Ruby.
that's what it is. Yep.
Yeah,
The
And then
nose are
Tail
also
Shadow as well
yeah.
helps.
I know this is what I'm playing in Chicago, but I know like that
Yeah,
Fidget and like the Pegasus, it's a three. Fidget is a 3 cost 3/2, and Pegasus a 2 cost 3/1. Those are more in play
yeah,
for like the green Pegasus. because
Right.
that deck has trouble dealing with that stuff.
Yeah,
But
yeah. And a couple more pieces that really need to get spoken about with this deck is we have Flynn Rider Frenemy, and then we also have the Sisu that gains strength depending
mhm,
on your opponent's hand size.
Hmm.
Those two cards right there, if you can go mid to late game, drop like a B prep or something similar, wipe their board out, and then you can, if you can get Flynn Rider and or Sisu onto the board, you've kind of locked it up. There's not a ton, unless you're playing like the mirror or something with like really heavy removal.
like any steel
There's
deck
there's
that's playing
yeah,
ping.
there's not a ton you can do against that. But hopefully by the time that you get that board cleared, their hand is so depleted
Hmm.
that they don't have those options available. So hopefully, fingers crossed into in this meta. Let's see. I hope you have great luck with it, Teddy. I mean, it did phenomenal in Atlanta, and I only expect it. It's only the deck has only gotten better.
Oh
So
yeah.
I mean, you know, sky's the limit.
Yeah, and I mean, like, if you're able to also, like, if you can get a one drop down, and this is, the deck does like going first a lot more than other decks do in this format, and like, obviously with 2 game format, you're gonna have a chance to go first, uh, and second in each match. So you'll be on the draw, you'll be on the play. This deck, any deck likes going first, but this deck likes it a lot more, just because if you're able to get a one drop down, then if you can get Flynn on 2 and then that hand matter Sisu on 3, if they can't clear your Flynn, nothing really else in the game except like if you said like if we're playing the mirror and they're also playing, or if we're playing like Ruby and they're playing Sisu, that's the only thing that can really do something to kind of affect that if they can't remove Flynn. And obviously, like, Brawl is kind of our own worst enemy in a way, being in the same color. Uh, I don't know. Blake, do you have thoughts on Ruby Amethyst? Obviously, still looking as strong as it ever has been.
Yeah, I got thrashed by it this morning in a game with Knife from.
Yeah.
uh, I was playing Ruby Sapphire into it, and he had that opening line of one drop Flynn and then Sisu, and it just took the game away pretty much
Yeah, because
because I didn't have an answer for Flynn immediately,
mhm.
unfortunately. But yeah, this deck is looking pretty strong, and yeah, it's one of those color combos I think that will almost always stay relevant. Though I feel like this is maybe the weakest that we've seen it as far as like the number of matchups that kind of
Mhm.
can go toe to toe with it. Whereas set one, there was almost like nothing that really went toe to toe with it. So there's a lot more contending with it. It's still a great deck, but
Yeah.
it's definitely been caught
Evened
up.
out a little.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
like we say, and I'll agree, this is probably the weakest the deck has been, but and that's like kind of just crazy to think about. Is like
yeah.
it's still so strong. It's
We
weak.
say weakest, but it's more that everything else caught
Got
up to
Yeah,
stronger.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
I think it's that that deck's dependence on having like one or two
Hmm.
specific characters out, and that's like your game. That's your whole game plan essentially.
Yeah.
Which don't get me wrong, great game plan, but like with the tools that the other decks have now, it's just harder to get those to stay on board.
yeah.
Yeah, and obviously that has everything like it needs to draw. If you can play your friends, if you can play your rabbits and not have those die, you're gonna be drawing the cards that you need. And sooner or later they'll be able to get what they need.
Hmm.
But Ruby Amethyst, I'll be rocking this in Chicago unless I change my mind. Obviously, still 4 days.
You need to lock in, bud.
I'm between Ruby Amethyst and then the next deck we're going to talk about, Ruby Sapphire. Uh, one of the big bads that has come out of this format that has just gotten exponentially better. Obviously, probably the biggest control deck of this format. Uh, you have everything you need in Ruby to be able to control the board. You have your Tremaines, your Medusas. Tremaine really isn't being seeing a lot as much play
More
in this.
Medusa.
Yeah, more Medusa. Obviously, the 8 drop Sisu that is new. B prep,
Pre-drop Sisus.
any of the Sisus, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shishu got
Brawl,
way strong this set.
Brawl, B prep. People were
Mhm.
off of B prep in the deck for like the beginning, but I think it's starting to come back as like a 1 of or a 2 of.
Yeah, I know. Ice Block
Mm-hmm.
has been a big tool with that pairing
Yeah.
with that with the Sisu. I
Yeah.
believe a majority of the lists have taken the title of Sisu on ice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that combo of lowering the attack to get all of your opponent's board into the range of the 8-drop Sisu for the one-sided board wipe
Mm-hmm.
is just devastating.
Yeah. Yeah. And obviously you're using those board clears, removal stuff, kind of build up. You're trying to get a lot of items in play, and then get that dime down, lucky dime down, and then get a Tamatoa, Bell, Aerial out, and profit.
Even the 8-drop Sisu
Yeah, in like
has 3 lore,
yeah.
so
So, but like
decent enough.
the way this deck is really going to win is if you can get dime down and get one of those big questers going, because
Yeah.
you can be at 10 lore and win the game if you get a aerial. Because unless
Yeah.
for like
The swings this deck is capable of is nuts.
Yeah, very much like Sapphire Steel was last set.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this was kind of the same last set, but now we got
More.
a lot more tools.
Yeah. It got a lot more ways to remove and control the board than it had, and I think that was its issue in the past. Is you truly relied on getting to be prepared as quick as you can, prepping the board,
Stabilize.
and then you have to stabilize after. Now you can stabilize before even having to be prepared, and sometimes you don't even need to.
Yeah.
And obviously, you have your ways to ramp, like we said. One Jump is obviously a great song. Mickey, the detective, has seen a little resurgence.
Mostly against the Emeralds,
Yeah.
because some of them run the Ursula. So
Yep.
that's kind of the pick. It's like, do you want to risk it against the Emerald matchup, or have the Mickey not be able to be?
I mean, yeah, like there's a lot of ramp, obviously, Mickey, whether you want that to get stolen by Ursula, and then obviously Fishbone Quill, probably the best ramp tool you'll have. You can get 1 or 2 good activations off a Quill, get cards in your and quickly get up to that 8-9 range as quick as you can. That's kind of what this deck is looking to do. The best way to describe it is ramp, control, win. But if I had to describe it in 3 words, Shawn, I know you have a pretty good matchup with Amethyst, not Amethyst, Amber Emerald into this. If you can like this, if any discard deck, honestly, if discard can get to this deck early, they have a very hard time winning if they don't hit Hiram.
Yeah, like turn 2, usually I can start discarding 2. I can discard 2 cards because turn 2 usually you drop like turn 1 Cindy, turn 2 Ursula, plus a Bare Necessities or a Sudden Chill, so they're really off to a bad start with me. Like, and at that point, if I and like they can get stuff onto the field, but by turn 4 I can Sing Under the Sea. So good luck. You gotta have something a lot stronger than you have access to that early. So
yeah,
and honestly, this, as I've been playing this deck, it's almost discard control, because by the time I get to the point where I can start questing, it's like past turn 6 or 7, when I have just depleted all of their resources to the point where they have no options left.
and
that's kind of the game. That's almost the game plan with Bucky as well, except I don't have like the kind of pinging removal that deck has access to. But I'm happy to leave your stuff alone. You can quest up to like 11, and then that's as far as you probably can.
Yeah. And obviously, that's like, I'll bring back up the location talk. Like, if Ruby Sapphire is choosing to play McDuck Manor, like the castles with Ruby Amethyst, those play into this format really well, I think. And I think it's something that will be noticed sooner or later. I think by the time set champs roll around, people will be teching more for locations. But, I mean, you slap a good statted 2 lore location down, a lot of decks can't handle it right away or have like high strength characters to deal with it in one turn. Um,
Yeah.
because like obviously Ruby has Maui, but and if
I've noticed a decline in
Yes.
fish
that is
hooks
true.
being
Yeah. Oh
included.
yeah,
So
fish hooks. I don't see that being played anymore. I know I've seen Maui counts get lowered. I know I'm only playing 3 in my list, and so it locations are in a good spot right now. I think that is something that a lot of people just need to pay attention to and realize that if you can't deal with them very quickly, those are gonna win people games.
yeah.
So Ruby Sapphire, like you said, the control deck of this format is going to want to get your hand, or not get your hand. That's the next deck. Going to want to ramp, control, and profit off of a dime and win in one turn after looking like they're not gonna win at all. And like I said, the next deck we're going to talk about is Emerald Steel. Probably the tier 0 deck. I think a lot of people are saying right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously,
They're saying it. They feel like it, but I don't know.
obviously, Shift Diablo. I think it's good. I think a lot of people are off of that to start, but I think because like if you can shift it, if you play Diablo, this baby Diablo, play Bucky, which whenever I play this deck, I feel like they always have it. They just never don't have it.
Well, that's because mulliganing is so good in this game
Well, I
because you
know
get to pick and
exactly.
choose. So
14 cards, you get to see 30 your deck essentially.
yeah,
Uh, but yeah, obviously, like this deck can do a lot as soon as it gets Bucky down, and if you don't have a way to clear Bucky, Diablo's coming down sooner or later. All these Floodborns are coming down, and then if this deck can one deplete opponent's resources and two grow a board that if you don't have a board like a board clear like Be Prepared or Sisu, which is only in one color or one ink,
Or Under the
then
Sea.
or Into the Sea.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go. That actually does affect that
or
deck.
grab your swords.
Under the Sea is 2 strength as
Okay.
well, just like Sisu is.
I
So
thought it was
in my opinion,
one.
just as dangerous.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
true.
And I can play mine on turn
It-
4. So
that's their big thing is most board wipes devastate their board.
Yep.
Because
Yeah.
most of the stuff that they're playing out is pretty small.
Yep.
Especially
lots of really small strength characters this
It-
set. Lots and
yeah.
lots of them that are just they just have so much value on the back end. It's worthwhile to play them.
And obviously, Shawn, you're playing Kita in your deck, so even if
Yep.
like there's something over
Mm-hmm.
3 that
Break it
Under the
down.
Sea won't hit, you play Kita and then
Exactly.
yeah, that. I mean, this deck is still gonna be good. Like this deck will turn out in day 2.
Oh, for sure.
We'll see a good amount of it. If there are like people will know how to play this deck, people will know what they need to discard. Obviously, it has all like the discard tools that Emerald has with Sudden Chill, the 2-drop Ursula, all that stuff, and then obviously Bucky and its Floodborn companions. This, I don't even know what to say about it. It's so good. I feel like it's just so good. And there are ways to play around it. Good players will know how to play around it, but then it's just like, what are you supposed to do if you don't have a hand?
Right.
Yeah, the key thing is knowing what to discard when you're made to discard, and basically knowing your outs with it.
Yeah.
This is definitely one of the ones you need to practice and know that you're going to face. So get those games in and learn how your deck can handle it.
And I think one of like,
and if you got the mirror match, good luck.
Yeah, have fun. That's the worst. I think that's the worst mirror match that we've ever gotten in Lorcana.
Yeah.
So far.
It does not look like it's going to be a lot of fun to play or watch, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think one of the bigger things with Emerald Steel is in combating it, you're going to want to try to outdraw your opponent. You're going to want to try to just keep using your resources to get cards in your hand, because even if they're discarding cards, if you still have a hand of 5 cards and they if they have 2 Buckies down, that kind of is just disgusting and there's nothing you can do about that. But if you're able to just keep outdrawing them and keep cards in your hand, there's a good shot you have it winning, because I mean, like I said, if they get rid of your resources, have fun, going to be in top deck mode by turn 4 or 5, which is unfortunate, but sometimes
Yeah.
how these games go. So
My crazy wild prediction is that a lot of people are going to be off of Emerald Steel because they don't want to play the mirror and they don't want to go to time.
yeah, that's fair because
You
these
remember we're playing 2 game format at 45 minutes. Do you think that you can play 2 games of this, 2 mirrors of this in 45 minutes? Because I don't think you can.
no, which
Hmm.
for everyone else, I was talking about this with someone else. I think I was talking with Franz. Sapphire Steel, it feels like it's gonna be, and that's what we'll talk about next. It feels like it's gonna make a big resurgence here,
I
just
feel like it
because
will.
one, it deals with this deck I think better than any of the other decks can,
Yep.
um, with his ramp, and then also with the steel ping it has, and so it's a good prediction, John. I like it a lot. I mean, I
Yeah,
would love to not have to play against this deck,
I know,
uh,
right?
and that's kind of like where I'm at with Ruby Amethyst is like obviously like I have Pan Shadow in my deck. I have a lot more ways than most would to deal with Diablo, and so like I'm teching a little bit more for that. But then like I know like but there are also ways you can just like say for that matchup just okay if I run into it, it's a 1-1 split tie
I think
draw.
I think that some people are going to end up just doing that as well
Hmm.
instead of risking it. Instead of
Yep.
risking your opponent getting one and you getting potentially none.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hmm.
I definitely see that happening quite a bit, which I get it. At the same time, I don't like it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like it
Yeah.
doesn't feel good. Like we're not like you're planning like that has a ton of people planning to not play the game, which just feels weird for such a big tournament. Like your contingency plan is to not play. Like that feels weird to me.
Yeah.
But hey, more power to you. If you make it to day 2 or to top 8 or number 1 with that deck, more power to you.
Yeah. And I think it just also comes down to like what you're comfortable playing against. If you're
Sure.
not comfortable against Emerald Steel, but you know you have a deck that can still just in any case take a like just you take game one, they take game two.
Right.
Like that's kind of like I know like
You want to try to flip that if you can.
that is true.
Yeah.
If you want to take game two, uh,
Yeah.
Tiebreaker game 2.
yeah.
Yep.
I will add if you do get a choice to go first or second, I would suggest always going first in this. At least that's where my mind would go, just because one, you're going first, you're on the play, not knowing what you're playing against, but then going into game two, you have a better idea uh, of what you're going to be playing against and how to do the mulligan and all that.
Yeah. The only thing is that game 2 wins matter more.
That is true, but
Yep.
I would also go into game two having more
It
knowledge of
also
what you
really
need to
depends
do.
on your deck
Hmm.
because some decks really need to go first.
Yeah, that is
So,
very true.
it
Um,
is, so just know your deck and how it performs
that
and
is true.
make that call.
And it also is like if you're in like the later rounds and you need a tiebreaker over someone and you know the only way you're gonna get it is like getting game two, then sure, take game two. But uh yeah, I don't know. I haven't played in a 2 game format tournament yet, so Chicago will be my first. Shawn, before we get into the last deck, any thoughts you had on 2 game format while you were at Atlanta? How did you like it? Would you? I know a
I
lot of.
love it.
Oh well, there you go. That's
I
all I
love
need
it.
to know.
I'm very much a fan of it. I'm only a fan of it on an event of this scale, personally,
Mm-hmm.
because I think 9+ rounds of best of 3 that can be way too draining.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that kind of sucks some of the enjoyment out of it. If you have to play potentially 27 games, like that's
Yeah.
insanity to me. So the way they've streamlined it, I do think that it is by far not perfect. I'm not trying to say it
Mm-hmm.
is a perfect system by any means, but I think of it for like I said, for an event of this size, it's pretty great. I
Yeah.
liked it a lot. It felt good.
Well, there you go.
Ooh.
We do have one more deck to talk about.
Yeah.
Sapphire
Yep.
Steel. Blake, you want to take us through this one?
Yeah. This one very similar to Ruby Sapphire, where the game plan is ramp to dime
Yep.
and just start winning with your big lore characters at the end. the differences is they have better ways to draw. They have songs like Let the Storm Rage On that let you control the board and continue drawing a whole new world.
Which I've
This card,
seen a lot of people have like not been playing that in this deck recently.
they've been making room for others,
Yeah.
but that's because I think they also have a second popsicle now in
Yeah.
this Fortisphere.
Fortisphere is really
So,
nice.
so
Yeah.
they now have a one drop draw card on top of it.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing that helps it against Emerald Steel with all of that card draw that they can do, especially cheap.
Yeah, like
So
it's not like, yeah.
so all of that card draw really helps them into that matchup. Dime is still their big ticket item, and they still use Bell and the new Ariel. More so Bell, I've seen mostly because it is a lot cheaper to play Bell and Dime on the same turn and be able to get it off all in one go. Ariel is 2 more ink, so that's so 6, 7, and then another 2 to
Yeah, and
get
like
Dime off all on one turn, which they can easily get to that ink. But it is a lot harder to get it off sooner. And for some matchups, you do want to get it off as soon as possible.
yeah.
For sure.
Like that 13 ink, if Sapphire, if it's ramping as well as it should, they should by the end of the game or close to the end of the game have near that ink to be able to play a Bell down and get a Dime going as one turn.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, of course, they have all the good stuff in Steel with controlling the board. And what we'll probably see this weekend, this is the best ink to have some stuff that'll just outright destroy some locations.
Yeah.
I've seen Avalanche getting some play as a counter to a great counter to Emerald Steel, even because just you just need the 1 damage to ping off the Buckies.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why Tink is also great, like that body, and then you're getting rid of Buckies.
They just have all that sort of removal that gets around the ward, which is the big barrier for some of the characters. And then they have great ward characters themselves that get around some of the Ruby removal with that. They can't use the ice blocks and to lower the strength for the Sisus to come down and all of that. So it's got a couple of great matchups. So I definitely think Sapphire Steel is one of the better ones to take this coming into this weekend. Just my personal opinion, though.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people are seeing that. I know, like, that's why I think we may see a little more Tremaine being played because it does get around Ward. Yeah. Also, Be King Undisputed is also a great song. Basically, Tremaine on a 4-costed uninkable song. And
wild, dude.
Well, it's
wild card. I think that card is gonna it's gonna come out. People aren't expecting it. I think people are expecting it, but people are gonna play that card and they're gonna be like, "Huh?"
Well, that's the thing is like if like in at least Ruby Amethyst, I'm playing it, and it's like if I can play a rabbit on 4, sing Be King Undisputed next turn with a rabbit, and then bounce rabbit back to my hand with Fox, and like if they have that's nearly a one-sided board clear. That's like,
lots of fun lines for sure.
Yeah, so that card, like those type of cards that get around Ward are probably going to see a lot more play. But Blake, I'll agree with you. Sapphire Steel, I do think it's one of the harder decks to pilot because it has so many lines that you can take, and I think that's the same thing with Ruby Sapphire.
Yeah, and you need to know, and it depends on the matchup. So you need to have your practice in with each of the matchups, so you know your lines for each of these decks. Yeah. Because that's it. Like I said, it has the stuff for beating Emerald Steel and some of the others, but you need to know what those plays are in order to get there.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because it's not the same line for each one.
Yeah, and obviously these 4 decks, while they probably will be the most popular, we're also going to see other decks come out of the woodworks.
Oh yeah,
we saw what happened in Atlanta with a Amber, Amethyst, Perdita, Fairy Godmother deck winning it all, and that's
not performing so well in this set though.
Yes,
unfortunately.
Yeah. And I think people kind of just like that. I think also like in that case, it was just like people just weren't expecting to see that. Set 3, everyone thought they had it figured out. It was the very end of the format, but then people just did not expect to see this. And I think like we know that Toronto, which is mid-August, is like the same thing with Atlanta. It'll be the very end of set 4.
Yeah, very end of set 4. So I'm very interested to see what'll come of Toronto.
Yeah, because obviously we'll have Chicago.
Maybe I'll brew up something.
Yeah, honestly, Blake's gonna win the only Canadian DLC, become the Canadian Lorcana champion.
That would be something.
But yeah, obviously, like we have Chicago this week. We'll have a full month of set champs in July, and then also Fort Worth regional DLC, whatever terminology you want to use, is the 3rd weekend of July, and then the final one we'll have for set 4 is a week after set 5 releases in hobby stores, I believe. And so
it is the same weekend actually, I think, because retail releases on the 23rd.
Oh, well, there you go.
So it's literally the day after retail release that Toronto is happening.
Well, there you go. But also, like, obviously, like we mentioned, Shawn is playing a deck that's not one of these 4, and it still has the props to do well. All of these decks that aren't in these top 4, like Amethyst Steel, I think can still perform. I could see like a weight set deck doing well if it's able to like if
I played around with one. It's a very fun deck.
Oh, for sure.
And and like obviously it's built more towards like to combat Sisu and not have those low strength characters, but also it's just like that deck, if you get going, it can take out pretty much anything on the other side. It has rubies and steals removal, so that deck can do well. I think Emerald Amethyst is probably the weakest we've seen it, I would say. Yes. Just because there are so many ways people, like, if people
everything's too low to the ground.
Yeah.
Everything's too low. If the Sisus just destroy it.
And it's not really discarding as well as Bucky does.
No.
So
and without that defense, because you can afford to have the little stuff if you have the discard to potentially get rid of what they can do to you.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have that defense of the discard, then your board is just for lack of a better term.
Mm-hmm. So I don't think we'll see a lot of Emerald Amethyst this weekend. Obviously we'll still see some. It'll still be there in some fashion.
Yeah. I mean, if Atlanta taught us anything, it's that a rogue deck can come out of nowhere and take everything. So
we could see a Ruby Emerald Evasive deck win. Who knows?
Sure.
Sure. Yeah. So lots of opportunities.
I've heard of crazier stuff.
Yep.
And that's the thing I think that these big tournaments provide is a chance for these rogue decks to shine. Because people are testing and trying to figure out what can I do that's going to beat all 4 of these meta decks. And that's what people are trying to figure out. And they build that rogue deck that does just work. And obviously we have the perfect example in Atlanta. And so I'm really excited to see what happens. I'm just excited for the whole weekend. And it's going to be a really cool time. I think it's going to be a great introduction to set 4 and on a big stage like this. So I will add, this is a lot smaller than Atlanta. This is only capped at 1,024. So obviously the prize difference shifts when it's 1,025 and higher and 1,024 and lower. So like we're only playing like top 4 gets the Mickey and all that stuff. So prizes are a little different, but I still don't think that changes anything. But yeah, Shawn, you ready for Chicago?
Dude, I'm so ready. I'm so ready.
And Blake, man in the chair again.
Man in the chair, and I'm also helping get out with stuff on the Real Play Network.
Yes, Real Play.
Well.
We'll shout them out.
Shout out Real Play.
If you guys don't know what Real Play is, Brandon and Auntie, good friends of the channel, have started a webcam Discord that if you go in there and you can play webcam games, it's a really cool place, really fun to hang out in, really just nice to play with like real cards online if you can't get to like your locals all that often and all that. And
Yep.
So yeah, go check it out. You can look it up on Twitter, Real Play Network. I'll throw the link to the Discord in the description. So
Yeah.
check them out. Really cool place. Right now, if you're watching this on Monday, so the next week, if you go in there, play a webcam game, take a screenshot of it, and then put it in the Founders. I don't know exactly what the channel's called, but it's like
Founders
screenshots.
Founder
Yeah.
screenshots, and then you'll get
Founders
a cool. You'll for the first week this week, you'll get a Founders role that kind of just signifies okay, you were here at the start and you played webcam games then. So go check it out. It's really cool. I know I've played some games in there. It's really fun. Great place to hang out. Yeah. Any last thoughts, boys, on Chicago? Blake, Shawn?
Sir, we think we covered all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get ready for this weekend.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's going to be really fun. Shawn and I, like you said, will be there. So look out for us. Are you bringing
Say hi.
Are you bringing your Glimmer Gang shirt?
Me? You do honestly, man. My shirt doesn't fit me anymore.
Well, there you go.
Oh, no.
I think mine is rather
Dude,
small on me.
Dude, I put it on. I put it on because I barely wear the thing, so I put it on to try it on for Atlanta. I was like, yeah, I can't wait.
Well, we'll have to get new custom shirts made.
Yes. I think well, since we had those printed, our logo has slightly changed.
Yeah, a lot of stuff has changed. So
yeah, I think that we could probably do something really cool here.
yeah. So I did not catch that. You cut out there. I don't know what you said at the very end.
I said we could probably do something in the near future for that.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Yep, near future. Look out for that. But thank you guys for watching / listening. That was episode 44 of the Glimmer Gang podcast. Get ready for Chicago. It's going to be a great weekend. It's going to be a great event. Lots of fun. Obviously, we saw how great and successful Atlanta was, and we can't wait for another one. If you guys do want to follow us, our personal links are down below, and then also all other Glimmer Gang links are down below as well. And we will see you guys next week to do a Chicago recap. Thanks, guys, and Glimmer on.